Hello, my lovely people, and welcome to Owen's Mind, a light-hearted trip through the contents of my head and the world in general. It is Sunday, the 26th of January. My name is Owen, and here is what is on my mind today. So, hope you've all had a good week. Hope it's been going well for you. As I said before, I had most of the week off. Went back to work on Friday just for a day, and then I've been off for the weekend. But yeah, I had a good week. I had a good birthday week. Didn't do much with my time. Just kind of relaxed and enjoyed, not having to go to work and get up early. But aside from that, nothing particularly interesting. But it's been fun. But back at work, happy to be back at work. When you have a few days off, you look forward to having time off work, a few days to yourself. But then you don't really know what to do with your time. That's kind of where I was at. So by Friday, I was ready to go back to work, and then obviously I'm back into the normal swing of things now for the next couple of weeks, and I've got a bit more time off, and then yeah, that'll be it until summer, I guess. So. Hope your week's gone well. Hope your Sunday's going well. Mine's going pretty good so far. It's still quite early here. But as usual, I have picked out 5 stories making headlines I wanted to give my thoughts on. Links will be in the description below so you can read each article in full and show those original publications some love. So, without any further ado, let's get into it. So, story number 1. And story number 1, we're starting off light-hearted today. BBC News. So, yeah, Arizona man dresses up skeleton to drive in the HOV lane. So, yeah, for those who don't know, HOV is the high occupancy vehicle lane in the US. In the UK, we've got like car sharing lanes and things. Basically, it's like this lane is for vehicles that have 2 or more passengers in. And the idea is to kind of limit congestion, get more people in your car. So you don't have 50 cars with 1 person in, you have 25 cars with 2 people in. Less cars on the road, less congestion, less traffic, less emissions, all that good stuff. But obviously some people, if you are making the journey alone, but you want to use this lane because it's typically faster because there's less vehicles in it, you might try something. So this guy, a 62-year-old man, was pulled over by an official notice that the skeleton, which was wearing a hat and tied to the passenger seat with yellow rope, yes, he was given a penalty ticket. So, yeah, apparently, a department told AP News Agency that 7,000 drivers in Arizona were caught violating the HOV rules every year. They put up a post on their Twitter page saying, "So you think you can use a HOV lane with Skeletor riding shotgun? You're dead wrong." Yes. But this particular man, it's not the first time the Arizona man is not the first to have gone to extreme lengths to avoid rules preventing drivers and no passengers from driving in particular lanes. Last April, a man was caught driving with a mannequin wearing a baseball cap and sunglasses. So yeah, people are, they'll find any way they can to kind of try and bend the rules and get to work faster or get where they're going, make their journey faster. These things have got cameras, they've got sort of HD cameras. You are going to get spotted. Whether or not the technology will just literally, if they've got somebody manning it and they can check every vehicle, I don't know if that's the case, or maybe, every so often they'll do a random check and just go, yeah, that's 2 people, that's 2 people, that's 3 people, that's... Anyway, so this gentleman was caught. Maybe he's got away with it dozens and dozens of times, but this wasn't his day. He was caught and he was given a penalty notice. It doesn't say how much it was for, but yeah, got to obey the rules, I guess, or get some buddies. Offer somebody you work with, if you're off to work, a lift. Share it out through the week, because then you save fuel money as well. If there's 2 or 3 of you and you all work in the same place, you live in the same neighbourhood, right? Monday, guys, we're in my car. Tuesday, we're in yours. Wednesday, we're in Dave's, and etc. etc. But yeah, so there you go. Anyway, moving on. Heavier story now for story number 2, but important. I think this is from Sky News. So heroin and cocaine can be injected safely in the UK's first mock drugs room. So yeah, this is been set up by 2 Bristol charities, and apparently Bristol has got a interest in tackling drug use. The death rate from drugs in the city is 60% higher than the national average. So yeah, they have got a vested interest, as all cities have, in kind of bringing drug use down. This has been controversial because obviously it's kind of, I think some people view it that it's normalising drug use, but the charity's argument is, look, people at the minute are taking drugs. There's no avoidable, and of course you want to move towards stopping that, but we have to accept that it is going on at the minute, and you can't stop it overnight. So they need to make it as safe as possible for it to happen. At the minute people are sharing needles, they're injecting in back alleys and squats and squalid conditions. So you're only adding to the problem, because not only are you then having to deal with the effects of the drug on the human body, you're then having to deal with secondary things like sepsis and infections and all, and diseases being passed between people who share needles and this kind of thing. So apparently these things have been similar rooms have been used for decades in other countries, including in Europe, but never been allowed in the UK. Deborah Hussey from the Bristol Drugs Project said the point of them is to reduce harm. Her statement was, people are rejecting drugs, people are using these drugs, let them do it as safely as possible while they're accessing a service where we can talk to them about making changes to their drug use. So for me, it makes sense. It does make sense that it's kind of like the brothel model. For prostitution, people know it takes place, it happens, and it's called the oldest profession and all this kind of stuff. So we know it's going on, and there is laws against it in many countries, and we're trying to get rid of it. But while it's happening, let's make those involved in it as safe as possible, so they're not going to, again, back alleys and people's cars. It's happening in a safe, monitored place. Similar sort of thing here. We know drug use is going on, and it's in the UK. The hard drug use is obviously it's against the law, but until we can sort of get it under control, if we can minimise some of the secondary effects of it, like infection and all these kind of horrible illnesses that are brought about supplement to the drug use because of the unsanitary conditions it takes place, then we can work on that, and then we can focus all our efforts on actually, controlling the kind of the influx of drugs and the supply and chains and that kind of thing. So I think it's a good idea. I think it's a really good idea. Again, it's somewhere safe people can go. They are going to get counselling while they're there to, try and figure out the cause of their addiction and hopefully get help and get them off it the right way. And it's, again, it's because people are. If you read the article, you'll see pictures of like discarded needles and things. So that's a danger to other members of the public, not just the users, the addicts themselves. So it fixes that problem as well. So it doesn't fix everything, but it's certainly a step in the right direction while, the bigger issues are worked on. Some of the smaller supplementary problems that taking drugs out in the, in the world, as opposed to this safe environment, safe, clean, hygienic environment, causes. So I think it's a good thing. I think it's a very good thing. Yeah, and it doesn't say. The government says it's commissioned an independent review of drugs to look at the wide range of issues, but told Sky News there are no plans to introduce drug consumption rooms. That's disappointing. If it's been used in Europe and there's a European model that shows this works and it does help reduce, certain aspects of the negative aspects of drug use, then it can only be a good thing. It can only be a good thing, and I think we need to do more. So hopefully this one will set a standard. Hopefully this one will have the Bristol one will have positive benefits, and then maybe the government will look at it again and go, it's worked here, and Bristol's, sadly has got a much higher rate of drug use and deaths and things. So maybe it will work elsewhere, and they roll them all out, because keeping people safe has got to be a number one. So anyway, that's it. Let's move on to story number 3. So story number 3, this is in BuzzFeed News. Terry Crews is being criticised for not standing by Gabrielle Union after she was fired from America's Got Talent. Yeah, so this is I didn't know anything about this, but so Terry Crews has been criticised for praising America's Got Talent after former judge Gabrielle Union was dropped from the show, reportedly calling out its toxic work environment, which includes sexism and racism allegations. Now, they asked Crews for a comment on this, and he said, I can't speak for sexism because I'm a woman. He told the Today Show, I can speak on behalf of any racist comments. That was never my experience. So it's just an honest thing. He went on to call the reality show, which he hosts, the most diverse place I've ever been in my 20 years of entertainment, citing its contestants. They have a huge range of contestants on from all backgrounds and diversities and this kind of thing. He said, I believe you should listen to women, you should always believe women. But said he added that the allegations came from an unnamed source and that Union herself had not made a public statement about the allegations. He also said he hadn't reached out to Union about her experience. And Union hasn't directly commented on the allegations. But yeah, essentially it's if you read the article, there's a lot of people really coming out at Cruz. They're really having a go at him because Gabriel Union sort of backed him when he was having problems. Yeah, the comment is, many fans rallying behind Union in the wake of Cruz's comments, noting that Union vocally supported the Brooklyn Nine-Nine star, Cruz, when he came forward in 2017 accusing the Hollywood agent Adam Vinett of groping him at a party. So she kind of backed him up. But again, in this instance, she's not made a public statement regarding this at the minute. And it doesn't sound like she's had a lot of conversations with Cruz about it. So he's basically saying, look, I believe we should listen to women. But then the article says she's not made a statement. So at the minute, there's nothing to listen to. And people are just jumping on this guy saying, oh, well, he's just protecting his job. He's protecting his pay packet. And, she had his back. And she had his back, but he'd come out and sort of stated it. And it says a couple of times in this article, I could be misreading it, that she has not made a public statement yet. Her husband, Dwayne Wade, basketball star, tweeted about a departure in late November, stating he was not given a good answer as to why Union was let go, including hashtag America's Got Talent in another tweet. So it's the gist of it is that she has made statements to people about a toxic environment, a sexist environment, that kind of thing behind the scenes, and that maybe this has rubbed producers the wrong way, so they've just essentially just ended a contract. So that's kind of the association, and then people are saying that Cruz should have had her back more. Again, we don't know what's gone on entirely behind the scenes. It says Union's contract as a judge had not been renewed after she reported a racist joke to producers and was told that her hairstyles were too black for viewers. Further reporting from Vulture detailed that the alleged tension between Union and Simon Cowell, a co-judge and executive producer, saying she had complained about his smoking on set. Many publicly criticised the network for dropping her and called out the racist and sexist behaviour that she reportedly complained to about the network. One thing that said, where are we? Yes, so it appears that she's kind of had a pop at Cruz in a tweet. It says, however, Union appeared to address Cruz's comments in several tweets on Friday, noting that diversity in front of the camera does not necessarily translate to diversity behind it. Absolutely true. She also appears to take aim at Cruz specifically in several tweets, including one in which she wrote, why would anyone gleefully get up on TV and tell lies that no one disputed, but we already know? Again, it's kind of cryptic, so I'm not going to jump on and have a go at this guy because we don't know the full facts. And yes, he could have easily come out and made a very, very public statement and say, look, she's had my back before, I've got her back now. But it doesn't sound, it already says that he's not kind of reached out to her to discuss, the details. So it says he doesn't know, essentially. He doesn't know the details, he's not reached out to her, which also says to me that she hasn't reached out to him. Had she come to him and said, look, this is what's going on, then maybe he would have come out and said, yeah, this isn't right. But the fact that he seems to be a little bit in the dark about it, and then when somebody asks him, he's like, I don't know. He says, I can't speak to sexism, I'm not a woman. Had she reached out to him and said, look, this is what's going on, then he could say, yeah, I've spoken to Gabrielle, and this is what she says her experience is. I do believe, he says at the top, women should be believed, we should be listening to them. It sounds like he's being supportive with the information he has. So for all these people coming out and go at him, it just seems a bit unfair. So yeah, read the article. There is loads of tweets in there. There's loads of information. Again, more information may come out going forward. But yeah, I just think they need to step back a little bit and really kind of look at what he said and what he said based on what he knows. If he was aware of all this stuff that was going on with her, and chooses to say nothing to protect his pay packet, yeah, that's a douche move. But I don't get the impression that's what's actually happened. So, yeah, I just think, again, know the facts before you make a comment. Which could easily backfire on me because people go, yeah, these are the facts, and you've just ignored it. I'm like, I've read the article, and all these videos I make are all based on the information available in the article, the information that you would read. And I don't have the time to really sort of, right, let's go back and I'll read everything she said on Twitter, and I'll read everything he said on Twitter, and I'll read everything Simon can. So I respond purely to the article as it is received. So there you go. I just think, we need to be cutting some slack until we know the full facts. Anyway, let's move on. Story number 4, this is in the Mirror. So, Chinese man eats live frog in sickening video amid growing coronavirus fears. Okay, so, yeah. A sickening video of a Chinese social media influencer eating a live frog is emerged into the coronavirus outbreak in China. Just for context, this video was shot in 2016. Okay, now coronavirus is everywhere. It's big news at the minute, and it is, people are dying from it. And the general gist of this article is that it is now thought that maybe when you eat things, this is what's called a wet market in China. I've spent some time in China, and I've been to one of these wet markets. And essentially, it's like a market where everything is live. You have cages with ducks, you have tanks with fish and amphibians and eels and all sorts of stuff. So you buy your food as fresh as it can be. I've not watched the video, but you've seen the still of it, and essentially this guy, gets a live frog, bites it, and just devours it, eats through it. Some say it's a stunt. Other people said, look, this is Chinese culture. This is kind of what happens. But the reason they've kind of tagged it with this coronavirus thing is they said that wet markets, especially those selling live animals, could be a contributing factor to the outbreak. A mixture of urine, feces, and other bodily fluids from live wild creatures ends up mixing with blood from butchered animals, providing ideal opportunities for viruses and bacteria to thrive. So yeah, it's, could this be this kind of cultural thing of eating sort of raw things and, uncooked and processed, and, where bacteria have not been killed by the cooking process? Could it be contributing to this outbreak? Could it be where it started and that kind of thing? And again, they don't know. It's just a theory at the minute. The most thing is people coming out against this video and just going, this is horrific and all this, that, and the other. It's like, it's just culture. It's just the way it is. If you see a nature video of a lion tearing into a gazelle while it's still screaming, you kind of just go, it's just nature. That's just what happens. It's not pleasant to watch, but you kind of understand it. But as soon as you put a human being in there and put human things around it, this whole kind of, no, we're supposed to be more civilized than this, and we don't do this. And it's like, we do. We have now, in the Western world, we kind of developed to a point where we cook things, we prepare things, and it's butchered and it's presented to you in a supermarket in a nice, a nice tray, and it's all wrapped up, and it's just a piece of meat at that point. But it started running around in a field or swimming around in a lake just like anything else. So the gentleman in the video eats this frog, and he just kind of cuts out all the middlemen. He just goes from that point. So I get for a lot of people's palates, it's like, oh, is it horrific and is it horrible? Yeah, you could. I know if you want to argue that the animal's suffering because it's not killed first, but then killing it is not a painless process. So yeah, if it is something they need to look at. If this kind of thing is promoting this virus, if it's making it worse, or if it's the start of, or it's the start of the next one because of this thing, then maybe they'll do something about it. And these wet markets will be. I don't. You don't really close them down because you're allowed to buy it. I think the idea is that if you buy it and you take it home and you prepare it, this guy just, whether it was a stunt, whether this is a common thing, I don't know. A quote in the article that says, this is just part of Chinese culture. They love to eat anything alive. This is Yang Zhonghuang, a public health expert at Council for Foreign Relations, told Time magazine. It's just part of Chinese culture. They love to eat anything alive. He also added that eating exotic animals can boost male potency, according to advocates. Yeah. But yeah, so people are kicking off about this video. It is, I imagine it is unpleasant to watch. I've not watched it. I don't really want to watch it. But it's a cultural thing, and that's the way it is. If you don't like it, don't watch it. No one's saying you have to do it. But if it is, like I say, if it is worsening the spread of the coronavirus, then yeah, they need to deal with it. And it sounds like, from everything I've read and heard and ingested in regards to this particular outbreak over the last week or so, China's really taking this seriously. So I think if they find out that there's anything to do with this, they will stop it. And it's as simple as that. Because my experience when I was in China, there was a park I went to, and there was some sort of boating lake, and we went this day. The idea was we were going to go boating, and we were told no, it's shut. And we said, oh, what, is it shut all day? And they said, yeah, a local government official just said we shut it, so we shut it, and that was it. It's like, is there a reason? The reason is we were told to do it, so we did it. So that's kind of how it is. So if China thought these wet markets were aiding the spread of this virus, they would just go in and say, right, as of now, stop, and everybody would stop. So it's not like they're not known for dragging their feet. If they want something done, it gets done, essentially. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, it's just culture, guys. If you don't want to eat it, don't eat it. Yeah, there we go. Move on. Story number 5. So it's on CNBC today. This is Boeing's 777X, the world's largest twin-engine jet, completes a maiden flight. So yeah, Boeing obviously is trying to rebuild its reputation after the fallout from its the 737 MAX. 2 fatal crashes, I think 346 dead. So 346 people killed, yeah. So they are trying to rebuild the reputation, and they've launched the 777X, the new generation of wide-body aircraft. Completed its maiden flight on Saturday, marking a milestone for the company. So it flew for about 4 hours, landed at Seattle's Boeing field, part of a testing that will occur throughout the year as the company works towards winning regulatory approval. The process promises to receive more scrutiny after the crash of the 737 MAX. So essentially what they're doing, they're showing the world, we know what we're doing, and we are going to test this as much as it needs to be tested in order to get approval. So yes, but it sounds like the industry itself is they're not squeamish about working with Boeing, because it says at the end, so this plane is all about the numbers. It is vast. So let's give you some numbers. So the company faced delays and snags because of they were trying to work with this General Electric GE9X engine, the largest aircraft engine in the world. So the diameter of the engine fan is 11 feet. So the fan in the centre of the engine is 11 feet, so I think it says it's like a foot shorter than an NBA basketball hoop is from the floor. These things are enormous. It's the largest twin-engine jet ever built, with a wingspan of more than 235 feet. And the wingtips can actually fold by more than 20 feet just to get the plane into various airport taxiways and gates. So this thing has to fold the wingtips up because of its sheer vastness. It can hold 426 passengers in 2-class configuration, and if you want it, it will cost you $422 million per plane. However, airlines usually receive discounts if they buy in bulk, I guess. So Boeing has had 344 firm orders for the 777X at this time. End of the third quarter, according to the company filing, Emirates is the biggest single customer. So yeah, this is it. As we are going to continue spanning the globe as fast and efficiently and as much comfort as possible, these bigger planes are going to become more and more of a thing, and because materials are getting better, engineering is getting better, technology is getting better, the composite materials are getting lighter, these things can be bigger and stronger, and this is just another one of those. Boeing itself, let's have a little thing here. So the gentleman earlier this month in remarks after the 777X landed, Stan Deal, who now leads Boeing's important commercial airplane business after his predecessor was ousted in I beg your pardon, the MAX crisis last year, thanked the company's employees and said, I want them to know we have your back. Because yeah, what happened was when Boeing suspended production of the MAX, 3,000 jobs was lost just at one manufacturer, because obviously they have a supply chain. They don't make everything. They get companies to make this particular part and this part, and then they assemble it all. So this new guy, Stan Deal, who's stepped in after all that kind of debacle and said, look, we're committed going forward. We've got our employees' backs. We are going to regain customer confidence. We're going to regain the public's confidence and we're going to work with our partners, and going forward, we're all a team. We're all together, moving forward as one kind of thing. So that's nice and heartening. Regardless of what you think about kind of environmental things, this is going to happen. People are going to travel. They're going to want to travel. They're going to need to travel for business and this kind of stuff. So if we can get these planes, if you can make them efficient, bigger planes are better because you get more people on. It's like the car share lane. The more you can get on a plane, the less planes you need. So although they're big polluters, and it says that these General Electric G9X engines, I don't know anything about them, but if it's the latest generation, if it's the biggest, you'd hope it was about as efficient as they could get it. Because why wouldn't you? Plane manufacturers don't want to pollute, because essentially if you get a more efficient engine, it burns less fuel, it's cheaper. So even if you're cynical about their big business and climate, their big business is all about saving money, keeping more in their pocket. So these engines, you can imagine, are going to be the most efficient they can be because they use less fuel, and less fuel means less money they have to pay out. So that can only be a good thing. So yeah, we'll see what happens when this 777X thing launches. It doesn't say when it's actually going to be available for sort of commercial use, when the airlines are going to have this and when you're going to be able to take a flight on it. But we'll see. Like it says, Emirates is kind of the biggest single purchaser at the minute, but we will see going forward. Anyway, so that's it, guys. Links to all the stories I've discussed today can be found in the description below, so feel free to go and check them out. Let me know what you think about this video, and tell me, have you ever bent the rules like the car share lane guy? It's maybe not a terrible, don't give me any horrible confessions about breaking rules, but maybe something that just made your life easier. I thought, this rule, if I just bend it a little, then I can get here faster, or I can do this better, or anyway. Answers in the comments, please, along with any thoughts you'd like to share. These were mine. They're not necessarily important. They're not necessarily right or wrong. They're just what was on my mind. So until next time, bye for now.